Greetings, greetings, greetings. How are you? Welcome to another episode of the Insightful Living channel, where again, we just make mental health relevant and practical for everyday living, for your personal life, your professional life, and your romantic life. All right. So today I want to discuss an issue that I see a lot with a lot of the couples that I work with. Okay. Many of the couples that I work with have no structure, no agreed upon code of conduct, no standard of etiquette that is prevalent in the relationship. So for example, whenever I start working with a couple, I always make the comparison of when you work on the job, right? When you work on your job, there is a standard of etiquette. There are do's and don'ts. There are behaviors that are acceptable and behaviors that are unacceptable. Like, this is communicated clearly to anyone who comes into this establishment or this company to work. It's very clear what is acceptable and what is unacceptable or unprofessional behavior. And so that when you go to work, there's already an expectation of how you need to be conducting yourself. Right. So, it runs smoothly. Right. You know what you need to do when the company has an expectation of you. And it's like there's no guessing. OK, but then so I have couples where sometimes I may have two people who are very proficient, very high performing, very professional on their job. Right. But then when they come home, there's like no rules. It's no holds barred. I say it how I feel it, and I just do whatever I feel. However it comes out, it comes out. Why? Because I'm upset and that's how I feel it. Right? But when we go on the job, that's not the case. We have to self-regulate. Right? We have our feelings, but we have to express our feelings in a way that is palatable. Right? A way that is appropriate. Okay. We have to self-regulate. Okay. So that dynamic needs to also be implemented in your relationship. Your relationship needs to have codes of conduct, rules. There has to be do's and don'ts. There has to be agreed upon acceptable behaviors and agreed upon unacceptable behaviors in the relationship. It cannot just be we're just winging it based on how I feel in the moment. That is a recipe for just a very unstructured, wild, unsecure environment, which doesn't warrant two people feeling safe, secure, and comfortable. Okay. So what I am suggesting is that you come together with your partner and you just simply say, hey, listen, can we both agree that in our relationship, we don't curse at each other? I'm just giving you an example, right? I'm giving you an example of how you can implement structure and law and order in your relationship so that when you come home, there's some law and order in the household, right? And then even when you have children, your children, they feel, okay, hey, in my household, this is what's acceptable. This is what's not. And then guess what? They tend to actually duplicate that and mimic that when they get their families. And that's what you call legacy. That's what you call legacy. You have established a certain culture in your household that your children have picked up that they actually mimic and duplicate generations after you. OK, so this is how it goes. For example, OK, you may have a goal or a desire to create just a comfortable, respectful, tranquil environment in your home. So you may come to your partner and say, hey, listen, can we agree that we do not yell or curse at each other or name call or cut each other off, even when we're upset? Can we agree that those behaviors are outlawed? Okay, your partner says yes. So now you have established that between the both of you, there is no cursing, there is no insulting, there is no cutting off, there is no raising of the voice. Okay, so now the both of you now, should be intentional to not demonstrate these behaviors. And if either one of you does demonstrate the behavior, you just simply say, hey, hold on, that's outside of what we agreed on. Like, we're stepping outside of what we said we will not do, right? You have to call your partner out respectfully. And then the partner should reel it back in. Oh, you know what? My apologies. Okay, my apologies. I was let my emotions get the best of me. Understood. I will not let it happen again. Okay, you just bring it back. Okay, and then, also, I want you couples to speak and project to each other how you want the relationship to be. Okay, so you say, hey, you know what, husband, you know what, wife, you know what, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? I would like a energy between us that is relaxed, where we can both feel comfortable expressing ourselves without being judged, attacked. All right. I want to be able to address issues with you. I want you to be able to address issues with me, where we don't have to always be worrying about an argument or a combative situation. I just want us to be able to intellectually analyze certain issues, just to assess how efficient, how accurate or inaccurate it is. That's all. Right. I don't want it to feel like it's a personal attack anytime someone brings up an issue. I just want it to be like, hey, it's an issue that we can just simply have a conversation about, not an argument. All right. And then you define, hey, listen, what is a conversation? A conversation is when we're talking mild-mannered and we're being solution focused. Okay. When you say something to your partner, it's great to have your partner summarize to you what you just said, to ensure that your partner heard exactly what you conveyed and not hearing what they wanted to hear. Because oftentimes people can hear what, something totally different from what the communicator meant to actually convey. Right. So that is something else you can establish in your relationship, right? Just for efficient communication. Okay. So I'm just kind of throwing out some different strategies just to establish a nice culture, a nice, smooth, respectful dynamic in your relationship, where people can feel respected and, it's not a guessing game. Oh, I don't know how my partner's going to act today. One day they're acting like this, next day they're acting like that. No, we have to establish some type of order. Okay. So it's like, if you hear your partner say something, you say, okay, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that you're upset because of XYZ, whatever it is. Your partner should say, yes, got it. Now we can move forward because you have properly comprehended what your partner expressed to you. Okay. Don't just respond or, because you could say something, your partner could just respond, but how do we know they're responding based on accuracy? How do we know they're responding based on what you actually meant to convey? They could be responding based on an altered, skewed way of how they heard it, and they're running with a false narrative. So we're already starting on a incorrect premise. Make sense? So if you're saying something to your partner, just respectfully, all right, can you just repeat back to me what you understood from what I heard? I'm sorry. Can you just repeat back to me what you understood from what I just shared with you? Have your partner repeat it back to you. And when they repeat it back to you, say, yes. Now we can move forward because there's understanding. And vice versa. If your partner shares something with you, you say, okay, if I understand you correctly, you're saying, and you summarize what you heard. Your partner says, yes, that's it. Great. Now we can move on. Okay. So the same way how your job or your place of business has a code, has a standard of etiquette, has do's and don'ts, has acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior, you should also have that established in your relationship. So I ask you, what are those behaviors that are acceptable in your relationship, in your household, and what are those behaviors that are outlawed? Do you have any? Have you identified any behaviors that are outlawed in your relationship? If not, then we need to make that happen as soon as possible so we can create some order. Okay? That's it for today. Okay? Just a few strategies on how you can establish an orderly, respectful situation. Okay, again, if you have any specific questions or concerns, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to address them. Okay, again, welcome to my channel. Okay, and we're here to just create value from a mental health perspective that addresses all aspects of life. Okay, thank you. Peace.